What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back. And from the Hill, Marjorie Taylor Greene calls again for, quote, a national divorce. And the Hill used to be fairly reputable. They've definitely lost a step, as most media outlets have. But they use the word again. I don't know if she's done this before. Apparently they say she has. But it's obviously, or in my opinion, it's to make her seem even more extreme than, she's not. None of these people are extreme at all. Well, the people who think a little boy can turn into a little girl, that's extreme. But again, I digress. That's not what this is about. This is about them trying to paint her as this evil person who's calling for CW2 and saying we need a divorce. And it's like, is that really that far off? Do you think for 1 second that the weirdo establishment left they don't want to get rid of anybody else. They want control of you. They would rather not have you get off the plantation. They would rather not have you split up. They want to keep you controlled like a creepy, overbearing husband, like Enough. I don't know if anybody remembers the movie Enough. It popped up on my Netflix recently. I was watching that, and they don't want to let anybody go. They want you to stay and do as they say every single time. But the story says Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia resurrected her calls for a, quote, national divorce on Monday, arguing that Republican and Democratic states needed to be separated and the federal government needed to shrink, although it's unclear what prompted the thought. Everything. The fact that, sleepy Joe Biden, old Bo Biden is out in Ukraine while Ohio is dealing with this terrible toxic spill. He's telling people. I was even seeing on some of the hood Instagram accounts, like shade room type accounts. I think it was the Savoy Show. I don't know. I forget what the account was, but it's it's kind of like a black Instagram account, and you can read the comments when they post about Joe Biden. Everybody can see through this. So I guess my point is, everything is what prompted her to say that we might need a national divorce. We need a national divorce. We need to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government, Greene said on Twitter on Monday. From the sick and disgusting woke culture issues shoved down our throats to the Democrats' traitorous America Last policies. So there it is. That's basically everything, right? It's not rocket science. The Hill wants to pretend why would she say this? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because we have, everything is up for question now. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is off the table, right? I'm sure this has been going on for far longer than I've been privy to it, but at least since the Trump era, all the media is lying, all the politics. Trump came in and kicked all the sandcastles down. He tore the veil off so we can kind of see what's really going on. And that's why we are dealing with constant censorship and ministries of truth and all of this stuff is because now everybody has a computer in their pocket and they're getting a little bit more privy to the game that's actually being played that we're supposed to remain in the dark on, right? And as soon as you say something about that game that we're supposed to be in the dark on, they call you a conspiracy theorist, right? Because a conspiracy theorist now is just somebody who can recognize a pattern. And the difference between the conspiracy and the truth is 6 to 8 months. So we all know what's actually happening. So for the Hill to say, we don't know why she would say this, well, it's pretty obviously why she would say that. And I don't think it's that extreme to say. And again, the only thing keeping the establishment left from wanting that is the control. Because if they let you go, then they can only control their little half of the people that are already fully and totally, completely brainwashed. But they need you too. That's the problem. Anyhow, what does she say? It was not the first time that Greene has suggested the idea of a national divorce. In late 2021, Greene said that voters who brought ruin to California shouldn't be allowed to do the same to a state like Florida. Yeah, I don't know if people are able to connect the dots, and that's why this continues to happen. Now, am I going to sit here and say I believe every single election is on the up and up? We see old stories like a guy sleeping in his car with a bunch of mail-in recall ballots in Southern California with pills and guns outside of a 7-Eleven. And they want to say, oh, well, no, there's nothing wrong with that. Are we really to believe that after we blanketed the entire country with mail-in ballots that sleepy Joe Biden, 80-year-old Bo Biden is more popular than Barack Obama? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a politician. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not qualified to talk about this stuff according to these people. You can't just read. You can't watch videos and come up with your own opinion. It's like every time on Instagram or Spotify now, it's like when they put those little flags that I hope eventually will go away if we're stuck or if we're stuck with them forever. Every time you say the V word, they pop up like, you can't talk about this without reading from the approved narrative. It's absolute insanity. So that's why we might need to split up. It's like, I mean, it really is kind of like an abusive husband, right? Like, no, if I can't have you, nobody will. That's what I think the left is doing. Meanwhile, the right could kind of just be like, yo, go away, and we can co-parent. You know what I mean? But moving on. Greens renew. Hold on. Let's back up a little bit. All possible in a national divorce scenario, Green wrote on Twitter in December 2021 after Democrat voters and big donors ruin a state like California. You would think it wise to stop them from doing another state like Florida. Brainwashed people that move from California really need a cooling off period. Yeah, I mean, this is not that crazy. I mean, we really are in the backwards, bizarre world to the point where anytime you say something that makes sense, it triggers the weirdos, right? Like, you can't. Chaos is their end game. Chaos and control. So if they can't fully control you, then they want it to be chaotic so that way they can ask for more, they can ask for more power. I mean, things are just out of hand. Now, they want their sanctuary cities, right? They want that to be chaotic because now they can look, allegedly, but why are they handing out needles? Why are they opening up safe zones to where you can shoot dope and fentanyl test strips and all that stuff? Is because that is, like I always say, where you are most useful to them, in that zombie-like state. So that's why they love, sanctuary cities and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's why they love that type of chaos. So they can always ask for more federal funding. We need to start this program and that program, and we're going to give a monthly stipend to the Transformers. None of it makes any sense. And when you say that it doesn't make sense, you are now called the extremist because everything is backwards. Everything is backwards, right? So her calling, what was it, a year or so ago that the PTA, the Parent Teacher Association in certain places, where they were given a warning by the Department of Homeland Security because they didn't want their kids learning CRT or gender ideology. That's what every single thing. So for her to say that we need a divorce, it's none of this is extreme. Is it really possible? I don't know. I'm not, as a famous bartender once said, I'm not the expert on geopolitics, so I don't really know. But every single time somebody says something that just makes remote, like, to a normal person that makes sense, it just infuriates the rabid, extreme establishment politicians. So, for the Hill to say, why would she do this? It's pretty obvious. All right. It goes on. Biden didn't go to East Palestine, I think they're calling it. I don't know. Ohio on President's Day. Green said on Twitter he went to Ukraine. See? Exactly. That's the point. And Ukraine, of course, look, that's a whole nother can of worms, but it was funny how for 3 years we were chasing this Russia dragon. They dropped it like a hot potato, pivoted to Ukraine, and now Ukraine is the talk of the town, right? And that's the post where we see on the Hood Instagram account that Biden says taxpayers are going to have to pay for Social Security or whatever they call it for Ukrainians. And you can see thousands of comments from the apparent, inner city youth. These are people that are probably all sub 30 years old, or maybe between, 18 to 35, like younger people looking at these shade room type accounts saying enough is enough. But the establishment is still going to keep telling us that, oh, everything is racist. Oh, stand up for Ukraine. Oh, your little boy is a little girl. Oh, you're driving a truck is going to kill people. Oh, go get the 4th, 5th, 6th booster. And that's another thing that the Hood really can see through, right? Like they're not rocking with the booster. And that's why they target the black community, which I don't even really like that term, but with rappers like Manny Fresh and Juvenile doing a remix, and Run DMC. I don't know who that's for. That's for like Gen X black people. But I digress. This has gotten completely off the rails. The point is, all of these media publications are now going to paint Marjorie Taylor Greene as even more extreme than they already were because she said we might need a national divorce when it's not that crazy. Why can't somebody just have an idea that you don't like and you can explain why you don't like it, okay? Because every time the weirdo political establishment left has an idea that I don't like, I try to voice why I don't like it. Of course, those type of things will get you kicked off social media, but I think that is possibly the foundation of why a national divorce might not be that crazy. It's because one side doesn't even want to have the conversation. They want to silence you. They want you kicked off. They want to have complete control of you. They don't want you to go anywhere. Just sit down, shut up, and eat the bugs. Another side, the right, the common sense right, I suppose, is saying, hey, I'll tell you why I don't like that idea. And they don't want to hear it. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe.